All right, welcome back. Hope you've had a great week. It's officially week 2. We are the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network, presented by Betonline.ag. We're back and better than ever. We're going to take a look at Ball State, but joining me to do so is my man Israel Troop. What's up?
What up? Hey man, another week to get better. Another week of football. So I think I saw a thing today. We got 24 weeks straight of football. So I mean, can't be mad at that at all.
Definitely can't be mad at that. Not one bit. And a place you could go to have fun with betting football is Betonline.ag. We are presented by Betonline.ag, your number one source for all of your sports betting needs. You can bet just about any sport and anything. They have live betting, props, futures, you name it, they have it. They have an online casino as well if you're into that kind of thing. But BetOnline gives you whatever you want in the sports betting world: college, pro, Major League Baseball, NHL, NBA. When those things get fired up, they have probably WNBA, you name it. Like I said, they got it. So what you need to do, go to the website, betonline.ag, and find your welcome bonus. All right. So you need to put in Believe, BLEAV, as your promo code. That's right. Got the little head motion going. BLEAV as your promo code to get your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline.ag. It's where the game starts. Speaking of this game, so we talked on our last episode. We put the UT Martin game behind us. We decided it was a weird game. A lot of guys out, but we did pull it together right before halftime and had a really good second half and kind of cruised away. The title was We Found the Rhythm. Georgia found the rhythm and was able to get a victory. Lots of stuff happening, but we welcome the Cardinals of Ball State in. They replace Oklahoma on the schedule. Actually, they're coming from the MAC. This is Georgia's second straight season hosting some action. So it's going to be an interesting battle. I think, Ball State is one of those teams where you're sitting there going, okay, they're pretty good. We're 42-point favorites. It's always a tough thing to cover. They lost last week to Kentucky 44-14. They had some good moments. They did some good things. So they're not going to – I don't think they're going to finish dead last. But let's do this. Ball State's not going to win this game. All right, so we're not going to get into like previews and saying, okay, well, look out for this guy, look out for Caden Simonza, Lane Hatcher. We're not going to give you a bunch of names. So what are some things that we're looking for in this game for Georgia to improve on?
I'm just looking for more continuity in offense. It's one of those deals where it's first game. Scrimmages, during fall camp are totally different, than once you get in the big game situation. When you're calling plays and not against your defense because you're trying to attack their weakness. So I'm just looking for more continuity there. Looking for the offensive line to dominate because, like I said on our last episode, I'm pretty sure that they had a very physical practice after the great tongue lashing that Searles gave them Monday morning. So just looking forward to that. Just looking forward to executing. We've established that we've got some playmakers, just cleaning things up offensively. I was able to watch the games. So all of you guys said that, you try to bug a running draw. Actually, the pocket kind of collapsed on Carson Beck and he escaped the pocket by running forward. That is not a draw. Way. I don't know where you guys got draw from.
No, Israel, that's a draw. By definition, that is a draw.
It's called a scramble, in case you guys were wondering. Gibby was scrambling. Just heads up there. But, just looking for, just execution on our part. The dominating performance for me would be, see us sustain drives, get first downs, obviously score, just work our offense, because we're running into SEC play next week. So just go ahead and fine-tune some things against Ball State, which would be another good formidable opponent. They're not going to come in and lay down. They had Kentucky on the ropes for a little bit, according to Coach Stoops anyway. So, just clean it up, Defensively, don't let them cross the 50, pretty much like you did tonight. Looking forward to seeing defense, I guess for me, I want to see us work zone because that's one thing we weren't very good at last year with a very veteran crew coming back, with the exception maybe one position. Just making sure that we dot our I's, cross our T's on defense, and we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I agree wholeheartedly. I think offensively, for us to feel good about what this game is, for us to feel good at the end of this game on Saturday, I think you would want to see the offense score early, score often. And that means they're on the same page. That means, you're getting Ra Thomas involved, Dominic Lovett. You're not, it was one of those things where he would zig, quarterback would zag, and the ball is behind, or he just misses throws and things like that. And a lot of it was just probably nerves. And, you hope to see Carson get a little bit more command of the offense, get a little more command of his nerves, and just kind of operate and just as the great Hank Stram would say, matriculate the ball down the field. And do so.
With Ra and Lovett, they've played in Sanford Stadium, but they haven't been a part of Georgia's team. So, it's a different mindset, when you're on the other side, now. So, of course, there's a little bit of nerves from those guys because of the expectation that Georgia has. Not saying that the expectation that their particular schools weren't very good, because Mizzou had us on the ropes and, Mississippi State had us on the ropes for a little while, but, when you're playing in Sanford Stadium and you're wearing the red and black, I mean, it just means something different. And I think, that also takes, precedent over kind of what happened, a couple of drop balls here and there, a couple of nerves going in. I mean, you're breaking in a brand new quarterback. So I'm looking for the offensive line to dominate that. It's their time, in my opinion. You got Brock, who's going to be Brock, but it's time for that offensive line, very veteran crew to go ahead and just dominate up front and just start mauling people.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
And I would like to see Coach Bobo put us in more positions like that to be able to dominate. I mean, I get that you want to work on some things. I get that you want to iron out some kinks and some things you might not be so good at. But I think it's time to kind of figure out and say, okay, screw this. We're just going to maul you, and then we'll work on some things. Like let's dust off the South Carolina game plan here, and let's put it to the test because we're good at gap scheme. So we're good at power, counter, pin and pull, right? We're good at the RPOs off of that. Carson Beck is good at quick game. And I think he just needs to find a rhythm. He just needs to get into a timing. And I think if we can do that and we can get going, I think we'll be just fine. And I think you'll say, okay, this is the Georgia team that we expected to see in 2023.
Absolutely. There's no need to hit the panic button. I think this week you kind of work some things. You want to work against South Carolina. You want to put some things on film, to make them have to, practice and worry about. So I think this is a good time to, figure out what guys are going to be the guys right now. We know music very, very much helps us offensively, as part of, who can tote the load at running back with the injuries that we have. Mm-hmm. So I think it's going to be a fun time Saturday. I think this is a game to where it's like, all right, kind of saw where we wanted to be last week, work some kicks out right this week. We're paying for the SEC this week.
Yeah, absolutely. And defense, just keep doing what you're doing. Keep getting after the passer, improve a little bit in the run, improve the communication in the zone passing game, zone passing defense, things like that. I mean, I think when you look at guys like Javon Bullard, Malachi Starks, those are two extremely talented defensive backs. Kamari Lassiter, go ahead and add him to the list. But I want to see somebody up front really emerge. Like there was a lot of guys. CJ Allen had a really nice game. He stood out. Xavier Soria, I saw him quite a bit. I think he stood out a little bit. But I just want to see some guys dominate up front. Like I want to see Zion Logue just destroy somebody. I want to see Nazir Stackhouse, Warren Brinson just collapse somebody and get in the backfield and wreak havoc. We didn't quite see that collectively as a defensive unit. They were great, but I want to see some guys up front really step into this thing and really take control of the line of scrimmage.
Absolutely. I think we're going to see that because, I mean, like I said, you got South Carolina rolling in, and Other than last year, that game's always just a toss up, every year. I'm pretty sure Coach Beamer's going to have them guys, a lot more locked and loaded this week. And this is a perfect game, like you said, for our defensive line to show domination, because if you go back and watch the North Carolina game, South Carolina's offensive line struggled. They struggled big time. So this is a good.
They were downright awful.
Pretty much put the film like we're going to kick your butt up and down this field next Saturday. So just looking forward to, I know that's not the same mistake for football. Things are going to happen, but, just from an execution standpoint, let's dominate executing what we do at Georgia.
Cut down on the penalties. Penalties are killer.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta cut down on those, right? You gotta cut down on those. Holding especially, yeah, it's bad. And be sure to press the panic button while you're at it. No, so a lot of people. So a lot of feedback I've been reading about this game is a lot of people are impressed with Brock Vandegrift.
Mm-hmm.
So did you? Yeah. How did you see that?
Beck to me is still the guy. I mean,
Well, not compared to Carson Beck, compared to Gunnar Stockton.
No, I saw that they wanted Brock over Beck in a couple of things.
Yeah, I'm ignoring that. That's not. I'm not with that yet. I'm not on that train yet. But
I think it's a race between those two. I think this game is going to be one that separates them, depending on how we play, obviously, because I really want to see those guys get more reps. So right now I think it's a tie to me right now, because Brock shows some things that I hadn't seen, because we've been hearing about Gunnar so much. So I think this will be a game that can kind of separate themselves and, see who's going to be the number 2 and number 3. I think this is the game to see that out.
Yeah, I think so too. And if we handle our business with the ones early, I think we can see a lot more of Brock Vandegrift and Gunnar Stockton. I think you need to see that. And I would be very excited to see how this backup job comes out, because something happens, the injury bug is present in Athens.
Yes.
Something happens, you got to be ready, and you got to have the right guy. And Brock Vandegrift was impressive. I will say that. I haven't not been a fan of Brock Vandegrift, but it's more so that I'm just a bigger believer in Gunnar Stockton.
Yes, I've seen Gunnar play in person. Yeah. So I've seen Brock play, but I haven't seen, I only saw one game, the state championship game, but I've seen Gunnar Stockton play multiple games in person. And, I think that kind of gives me the edge on him, but at the end of the day, they got to perform. It's all about results. So, if the results show that you're the guy to be number 2, then you're going to be number 2. And like you said, all just depends on who can go and keep this train rolling if an injury happens.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think you're looking at that at other spots too. I think you're trying to find right now a receiver that's going to be able to get on the same page with Carson Beck. I mean, we look at the quarterback point of view from last week, and I think this week, from a receiver standpoint, they have to be able to get on the same page and understand what the route concept calls for. They have to be able to understand the depth of the routes, what Carson Beck wants in the particular scheme that they're in. I think you have to find somebody that knows what to do and is willing to do it, whether it's blocking or whatever. And right now, I don't, with Ladd McConkey out, and I didn't see Marcus Rosemary-Jackson either, but I don't see anybody that really knew what to do or was willing. I think they were willing, but I don't know if they really knew. It just seemed everything was just kind of out there.
Yeah, everything was just kind of funky. I saw Arian Smith being Arian Smith. So, it's just one of those deals to where, you always got to build that chemistry with the quarterback. Who does he trust? The quarterback can tell you if he don't want you in, you're not going to be in certain plays just because he wants this guy at that particular moment. My quarterback did it today. So he was like, why is that guy on this particular play? But it just happened to be the rotation at the time, so, quarterbacks want to go to the guys that they can trust. And, I think this is a big game to build trust because, after this game, all these are must wins after this. If we want to reach the goal of being where we want to be in December, And in January, we got to win out. So we got to play the guys who are ready to go.
With the schedule as perceived, as easy as it is perceived, I don't think you can afford to lose a game and be in the college football playoff. And so that starts now. I mean, that started last week, but that starts now. And that starts with being able to execute to the standard against Ball State.
Mm-hmm. That's it. Execution. And so what you're supposed to do. We come out of this feeling good and the SEC play. It's real simple.
Easy breezy. So that was the easiest preview that we're probably ever going to do this year, because they're going to start getting a little more complicated when you're looking at matchups and things like that. So while we have it, and while there's a lot of SEC games, a lot of interesting games this week, you want to do some picks?
Let's do it.
Let's do some picks. All right. So we're going to do Betonline.ag with our handy betting lines here. A very interesting one on Friday night, a little Friday night football. Illinois traveling to Kansas. Illinois is 3-point underdogs on the road at Kansas.
I'm taking that. I'm going to take Kansas to win it. I think they built a little bit of momentum, and I think after watching Illinois this past weekend, they got some work to do. Now they're trying to fix the kinks, but I think Kansas is, slowly but surely starting to figure out this thing called football. Oh, they play that there? Yeah, I'm with you there. I don't know. I don't think Illinois. It's a weird thing they got going on. I think as they're figuring it out, I don't think they're going to have that luxury, and I think Kansas is going to make them pay. So, give me the Jayhawks. How about this 10 a.m. game? 10 a.m. Central. It ain't Colorado. But we'll get to that one. Vanderbilt is close enough, right? Same color scheme. Vanderbilt is traveling to Wake Forest to take on the Demon Deacs. Vandy is 10-point underdogs on the road at Wake Forest. Wake. I watched Vandy struggle against Hawaii. That's all I need to see.
I think Vandy at least covers. I don't know if they win, but I think they at least cover. This is a must-win for them. Again, they're going to have to figure some things out. I think they at least cover because I don't know that Wake Forest is – I think they might be a little too talent depleted to win this game by more than 10 points. So give me Vandy. Give me the points. Don't know if they're going to win, but they're going to at least cover, I think. We shall see. Does Georgia cover 42.5? That's a valid question these days.
I think they do. I think they cover.
Yeah, I do too. I think they're going to be.
I don't think they have a choice but to cover after the way they started the game last week.
I don't think they want to see Kirby if they don't cover this one. I don't think they're going to want to come to practice.
I was happy on the headset last Saturday.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Wasn't pretty. Okay, now the game that you wanted. This is a new kickoff here. Colorado hosting once former bitter rival, Big 12 rival, Nebraska. They are now in separate conferences. Colorado will go back to the Big 12 next year. Nebraska in the Big 10 now. They don't play as often. But Colorado, Coach Prime, first home game, home opener. They're 3-point favorites, which I don't know that they were 3-point favorites to begin at the beginning of the season in this game. I think that those odds have shifted for obvious reasons. What do you think?
They got that thing sold out. It's going to be a packed out house in Boulder. Buffalo, whatever their mascot's name is going to be running. Ralphie, that's it. I didn't know if Ralphie was still alive or not. Maybe I might have changed it. But they're going to send Ralphie down the middle of the field before pregame, scare the absolute dog doo-doo out of Nebraska, and they're going to proceed to win this football game.
I'm with you. I'm sold on Colorado. I don't think Nebraska is going to have an answer for Travis Hunter. I really don't. He is a bona fide stud. So give me the Buffs all day. Okay. Texas A&M at Miami. This was a A&M win a year ago. A&M looked much improved this against Kent State, the aforementioned Kent State. A&M 4-point favorites on the road. Are you buying it?
I think I'm going to buy it. Buying ain't it?
Yeah, I'm buying A&M, and I think it's a little bit. I think it's a little bit to do with the fact that I'm really not buying Miami right now.
That's why
I'm buying Miami even less. So it's like, okay, well, I got to take somebody, right? So I will go with Texas A&M. The Cy-Fair Trophy, I think is what it's called. Iowa State. Iowa found some offense. They figured out that they are indeed allowed to score touchdowns.
they can throw the ball down the field. They figured it out.
They figured it out. They figured something out. Iowa State, no clue what they bring to the table, but with Matt Campbell, they're always a tough out. They're always going to be a tough team. Just don't know what they got talent-wise, but Iowa's 4-point favorites on the road in Ames.
Ooh, in Ames?
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Iowa State in this one. I got a feeling.
Taking the home dogs. I'm going to take the Hawkeyes. I don't normally do that, but I'm going to take the Hawkeyes in this one. I don't know. Their defense is pretty special, and their punter will flip the field often.
Yeah.
It's a weapon. All right. Ole Miss traveling to Tulane, 7.5-point favorites. Any reason to take Tulane?
Nah, I don't think so. I think what are they? 7.5-point favorites?
7.5, yeah.
Yeah, I'm taking Ole Miss here. I think Ole Miss. I think Tulane is a really good football team, but I think Ole Miss will figure it out.
Jackson Dart is legit, dude.
Yeah,
he's legit. He opened some eyes.
He's definitely gotten better.
Way better. Way better. Because of what happened last week, Northwestern got completely embarrassed by Rutgers. They are 1.5-point underdogs to UTEP. Do I need to repeat that?
I'm taking UTEP.
That's bad. Yes, I'm definitely taking UTEP here. That is pretty pitiful. Okay. Oklahoma. They impressed us. Soon to be SEC. Oklahoma Sooners. Boomer. They are 16-point favorites over SMU. Knowing what we know about Oklahoma from a year ago, knowing what they just did to Butch Jones. Do they cover the spread and keep it rolling, or is that too many points?
I think they cover. They looked a lot better this year, coming out the gate. So I think I'm gonna take Gabriel is looking really, really good. Little Stoops is catching the ball while the receivers are gelling. I think they got some amazing firepower. So I'm gonna take it. Okay, so we have a few more games here. Texas and Bama. Texas is 7-point underdogs at Alabama. They're on the road. Bryant-Denny Stadium, 6:00 game or 7:00 game Eastern. Simply from the simple fact of Nick Saban is on a warpath at this particular moment, and I think that the fact that they can run the football, they're making it a point to run the football now. I don't think Texas will be ready. I just don't think they had the dudes up front. I don't think they had the depth. Alabama's defense is nasty, and if they get any semblance of a lead, Jalen Miller is going to be back there cooking. So yes, so give me that all day. All right, our last one that we're going to pick. Actually, we got two more. Arizona. This is the only time that Mississippi State may be a big home favorite or big favorite in any game, but they're favored by 9 over Arizona. I'm taking it. Taking the 9? Taking the 9. Yeah, I think this is one of those where you're just like, okay, they're actually better in this matchup. They're not going to be able to say that much with Mississippi State, but they're actually going to be better. Nah. All right, and the last one, Pac-12 After Dark. Auburn, 6.5-point road favorites at Cal. I'm going to take it. I am too. I don't think Cal has any sort of answer for what Auburn has in the running attack. As much as I'm not a fan of Hugh Freeze, you may be. I just
I think he's a little bit skeezy, but he's a good football coach, and they have a little bit of talent, and they can do a few things. And so I think this is more of, I don't think Cal's going to be able to hang with them. I don't think Auburn's anything special, but I also don't think Cal will be able to handle the speed up front. I don't think they're ready for that.
This is going to come down to player for player, in my opinion. I think Auburn has better players.
Yes, I agree with that. So, Israel, that's going to do it for our picks. That's going to do it for our show. It's a quick one, man. Quick preview. Getting you set to your weekend right. So what I want you to do is go find us anywhere you find your podcast. Go find us on social media. If you don't follow TroopStar28, you're missing out. He has some beauties. He has some gems in there. If you're not following at Believe in Dogs, you should do so. If you're not following at Coach Burton36, you should, but not quite as exciting as following TroopStar28. Go subscribe to our show on YouTube. Hit us up on social. Like I said, hit us up on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're not very active on TikTok. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, Israel will do a TikTok dance.
It's going to take a lot of you guys. Let's get it going.
So whatever the trend is, or I'll learn the gritty, which that'll be an adventure in itself. So we have a signal. We have a signal called dance. So I've got to figure that one out. That's a full scale shift. But yeah, so if you're not subscribed, if you're not following us, please do so. You won't regret it. I promise you. Got a lot of good things. The season's going to really get going when we get into the meat of our schedule. We're really going to be cranking with this thing, and it's going to be a journey. So, but that's going to do it for us tonight. Before we get out of here, who do y'all got this week at where?
We have Benedictine on the road in Savannah Friday night. Battle of the defending champs. They won it last year in 4A. We won it in 5A. So they made a nice big spectacle of this thing. So it's gonna be a packed house. It's gonna be a good game.
Okay. Heck yeah. We Innsworth is hosting Knoxville Catholic, so that'll be a fun one. That'll be I don't know how this game fared last year, but it should be a little bit tougher of a test than the one we just had with Trezevant. So I'm excited about that. We've got a really good game plan. We've had a pretty good week of practice, pretty solid week of practice. So no complaints here.
Had a great Wednesday today, so makes you feel good.
It does. Makes you feel good going into the week. We got a JV game tomorrow against Brentwood Academy. That's going to be fun. And we're gonna end this week on a high note. So for Israel Troop, I'm Corey Burton. This is the Believe in Georgia Dogs podcast on the Believe Network, presented by Betonline.ag. We will see you back here next week for the recap of the Ball State game, and then also a quick preview of the upcoming matchup with South Carolina. You know the drill. See you later, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs.
Do you believe?